The blade plunged through Sarada's chest, and her smile shattered into a silent scream as blood stained everything. You saw Boruto's face, the empty coldness in his eyes, and the entire world froze in terror. How did Konoha's greatest hero become the bringer of so much darkness, surrendering his very soul to the abyss? And how did his best friend, the heir to the Uchiha legacy, pay the ultimate price for that terrible choice? It all began with the promise of a new path, a future where bonds would never break and peace would reign supreme. But reality unraveled. Boruto Uzumaki, his karma resonating with an overwhelming force, carried the burden of a power he barely understood, a legacy that pushed everyone away. He felt the villagers' gazes, a mix of awe and fear, and it suffocated him. The shadow of Naruto, the legendary Hokage, was an overwhelming weight on his shoulders, demanding a perfection he didn't know how to achieve. Then, on a rainy day, during a routine mission that seemed insignificant, everything changed. A fragment of an ancient scroll, unearthed from forgotten ruins, began to emit a strange, pulsating energy near him. The scroll's text spoke of a power capable of rewriting destiny, but at a terrible cost. The wielder's soul would be consumed by an irreversible darkness. Boruto felt a dangerous curiosity stir. Sarada warned him, but her voice seemed distant, a faint echo against the scroll's seductive whisper. Something within Boruto yearned for that power, for something that would pull him out of his father's shadow and make him his own hero. He didn't notice the red glow in his eyes, nor the subtle distortion in the air around him. The compass on his belt, a gift from his grandfather, began to tremble violently and then shattered in two. From that moment on, Boruto's universe began to invert, and the path he chose opened to a cruel destiny. The true journey into darkness was just beginning. The scroll emitted one final pulse, and the energy flowed through Boruto's body, enveloping him in a dark aura, and then the seals protecting him shattered. He felt the raw, limitless power, and a voice whispered in his mind, promising glory and freedom from all binds, but revealing a terrible secret. To achieve total power, he would need to make an immeasurable sacrifice. Kawaki screamed in pain and fury, the village's rubble hiding what he had lost. The landscape crumbled, and flames devoured the dreams of a future. How could Konoha, the symbol of peace, fall in such a brutal instant? Boruto still felt the raw power. The voice, now clearer, whispered about the immeasurable sacrifice. The truth was an abyss. The karma seal on his hand throbbed with dark energy, and the ground beneath his feet seemed to tremble. He knew something had changed, and an uncontrollable force grew within him, demanding a price. The first crack appeared on the Hokage Tower, a thin fissure that expanded into a roar, startling the villagers. He didn't want to cause it, but the scroll's energy distorted everything around him, promising more destruction if he stayed. Looks of fear transformed into silent accusations as the first buildings began to crumble. Naruto and Shikamaru tried to understand, but Boruto's aura was oppressive, a shadow that suffocated hope, and they were powerless. Kawaki confronted him, his eyes burning with distrust, and the blade he carried vibrated with hatred. He didn't understand what was happening, but his instinct screamed that Boruto was the source of all the chaos, and his gaze promised vengeance. The voice in his mind, now almost a friendly whisper, offered him a single way out: accept the sacrifice and leave Konoha behind. He looked at the chaos unfolding, and the broken compass in his hand mirrored his shattered soul. Boruto vanished in a dark blue flash, leaving behind a power vacuum and a Konoha in ruins, with its people staring at skies filled with dust and uncertainty. Only the question why echoed through the rubble. Kawaki found Sarada's diary, fallen beside a torn photo of her and Boruto, and then a final scribbled phrase stood out: his sacrifice will not be in vain. His eyes burned with implacable fury, and the hunt for the traitor began. Kawaki screamed. Sarada's diary crumpled in his hands as pain and rage consumed him whole. Her final phrase, his sacrifice will not be in vain, sounded like a curse, and Boruto's cold, empty image burned in his mind. He wouldn't wait. Konoha was in ruins, the pain still palpable, but vengeance was a hotter, blazing fire in his chest. Boruto would pay, and Kawaki would be the executioner, no matter the price he had to pay. His own blade pulsed with a hungry heat. That dark energy trail Boruto left behind couldn't just vanish, and he felt every reverberation, a call to the final confrontation. He ignored the pleas for calm from the few remaining shinobi, those still reeling from the destruction and Boruto's sudden departure. For Kawaki, every lost second was a chance for Boruto to escape and strengthen the darkness. The smell of smoke and debris still hung in the air, a cruel reminder of the day everyone's world crumbled. Kawaki clenched his fist. He needed more than instinct. He needed data, a clear direction for the hunt. He found Samaire in the makeshift infirmary, her eyes swollen from crying, but her focus was still of unbreakable determination. She had been the only one to monitor Boruto's seals before everything fell apart. Samaire hesitated, her voice choked with sadness, but handed him a data scroll. The readings showed a powerful energy fluctuation directed towards the isolated lands beyond the Land of Fire, an unknown place. The energy wasn't just Boruto's. There was another signature, ancient and mysterious, mixed with his, as if something was consuming and amplifying the Karma's power. Something terrible was coming. Kawaki felt a shiver down his spine. He confronted Shikamaru, who was trying to organize what remained of the village, demanding answers about Boruto's whereabouts. Shikamaru was exhausted, his voice hoarse from the pain of loss. The advisor revealed an encrypted communication, intercepted before Boruto's disappearance. A message sent to an unknown destination. Just one word, a single syllable. Well, Kawaki felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. Well, what could that mean? A name? A place? The hunt, already personal, became a deadly puzzle he needed to solve. The broken compass on his belt seemed to vibrate with its own energy, pointing towards the darkness Boruto had chosen. And as Kawaki followed the trail, a shadowy figure watched him from afar, red eyes glowing intensely in the forest's gloom, as if waiting for the confrontation. Kawaki felt the forest groan. Each step sank into sticky mud, and an unnatural silence enveloped him. He gripped his blade. Boruto's trail was growing colder, but a putrid smell of something dead and ancient began to invade the air. He was pursuing a demon, but what he found was an unsettling calm. The distorted, sickly landscape didn't scream for a villain, but for a victim. That silence felt like a lie. Samaire's readings indicated a dense area of influence, and Kawaki followed the data, his eyes sweeping the shadows. He noticed trees were twisted, their leaves withered with a strange silver sheen. Boruto's darkness didn't destroy, it slowly consumed. With each passing kilometer, the atmosphere grew heavier. The air seemed to suck the very life from his lungs, and he felt a constant vertigo. Kawaki knew that if whatever was causing this continued, the entire forest would be swallowed. And then Konoha. Suddenly, a whisper. It wasn't Boruto's voice, but an ancient, formless melody, almost a macabre lullaby. It came from the ground, from the treetops, and seemed to vibrate within his own mind, making his ears hum. He stumbled upon a dry chakra point, a skeletal flower that seemed to have lost its essence. The karma in his hand throbbed, no longer with fury, but with alarm, as if warning of a threat that transcended the physical. The horror had no form. A distant memory of Sarada came to mind, her words about an ancient scroll, a terrible power that consumed souls. The phrase, "his sacrifice will not be in vain," reverberated, and a cruel doubt began to form. Perhaps Boruto wasn't embracing, but confronting this darkness. Kawaki then found a cave, and inside, strange symbols painted with fresh blood on the wall. In the center, a broken compass, identical to Boruto's, was fixed on a complex astral map, pointing to the symbol of well at its core. It was a trap. The well wasn't a place. It was an entity. That symbol on the astral map seemed to radiate an insatiable hunger, and the energy that Boruto's karma and the other mysterious signature radiated were a call to this thing. Boruto was trying to contain what he himself had unleashed. Kawaki's broken compass, still on his belt, began to spin wildly and then pointed back towards Konoha. He felt a chilling dread. The invisible horror wasn't just advancing. It had already arrived and was waiting to reveal itself to the world. Kawaki wasn't hunting a villain. He was in the middle of a cosmic chessboard, and Boruto, with his darkness, was just a desperate piece. The true threat was much bigger, and now he needed to warn Konoha, or they would all be consumed. Kawaki raced back. Konoha burned under a black dome, a living shadow that suffocated the village. The smell of death was palpable, but the terror came from the silence, the absence of screams, and the panic settling in. At the center of the devastation, The symbol of well pulsed with a ravenous energy, sucking the chakra and life itself from the villagers. It was a formless mouth, devouring hope, and Boruto wasn't there to stop it. Kawaki felt despair wash over him. He had failed. The creature had arrived, and destruction would be total. But then a dark glow erupted from the midst of the darkness, an aura he recognized. Boruto emerged, enveloped in furious black karma. But his eyes showed no hatred, only profound pain and an incomprehensible burden. He was the monster, but he was fighting against the very darkness he had unleashed. The voice of well echoed in Kawaki's mind. The sacrifice has been accepted, her heart broken, and his soul belongs to me. But Boruto didn't back down, and the truth about the blade and the blood revealed itself in a brutal flash of memory. The blade that pierced Sarada didn't kill her, but activated an ancient Uchiha seal she herself had prepared. The brutal scene was a ritual to trick well, making it believe Boruto's sacrifice was complete. He needed to become the host, the monster, and for that, well demanded the deepest despair. Sarada, with her own life, offered the bait, and she trusted Boruto to endure the pain he would choose. Boruto's pain was immense, but Sarada's resolve pulsed within him, a beacon in the overwhelming darkness. He used the power of well against the entity itself, a battle of wills and sacrifices. Kawaki, in shock, understood everything. Boruto wasn't the villain, but a hero who embraced darkness for a greater good. He couldn't help in the direct fight, but he could protect the seal and defend what remained of Konoha. With a scream that tore through the sky, Boruto channeled the corrupted power, and the entity, while trembled, forced back into the abyss from which it came. The seal was reinforced, but the price Boruto paid was terrible. The Black Dome dissolved. Konoha was saved, but Boruto was transformed, forever marked by the darkness that saved the light, a solitary hero the world would never understand. But Kawaki did. Boruto vanished into the shadows, carrying the burden of the monster he had become, and Konoha breathed, but the ashes of judgment and incomprehension hung in the air, the echo of a supreme sacrifice. So, did you enjoy this sensational twist? Then drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you thought of this insane story. There's a lot more waiting for you here. Thanks!